Welcome back to my channel where I still don't have a voice, but I am pushing through because I want to rank my top 20 cool tone palettes in my collection. Some of them are newer, some of them are older, but all of these are great quality and I'm excited to share them with you. If this is your first time here, hi, my name's Heather. I usually don't sound like this, but I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands. And if you guys love those things too, I really hope you will subscribe. And don't forget to click the little bell so you can be notified of all my future uploads. If you guys are interested in any of these palettes or anything that is on my face, I will have them all linked down below in my description box. And if you like this look, I did film it with the new Odin's Eye Soul Mane 2 Moonwish palette. That video should already be up by now. And I will have that linked up here in the cards if you guys want to check that one out. I am pretty sure I have videos for every single one of these palettes as well, if you guys would like to get some inspiration. But let's go ahead and get started. Listen, I laid all of these palettes out, and this year has been like the best year for indie brands and cool tone palettes. Some of my favorite palettes have been released this year. I've tried some really freaking good stuff. And let me just say, when I laid all these out, it was so freaking hard to choose. I had to like start from the bottom, like from number 20, and then kind of work my way up. I picked out my top 10 and then I picked out my top 5. Like I spent 2 hours deciding where I want these palettes. Now, just like anybody else, my preferences change sometimes. Sometimes I'm into a different color story or a different formula. So next week, this order could be completely different. But if there's anything about any of these palettes that I don't like, I will let you know. So coming in at number 20, we have the NOMAD OSL palette. I really love NOMAD, but I do not like 6 pans very much. I did get this in PR, and I'm truly grateful for it, but I don't like taupes on their own. I like mixing some neutrals with pops of color. That's just my vibe, and I don't really like 6 pans, which is why this is ranked at number 20. But I will say the formula in here is good quality. I had fun creating the looks that I created with it, but I just want a little more. Coming in at number 19, we have the GLAMLITE Friday the 13th palette. This is the Camp Crystal Lake palette, actually. But this is such a like dark, vampy palette. And this is one of the first cool tone palettes that I bought in a long time. It came out last year during Halloween, but I think it's beautiful. It's not one of my favorites in my collection. I'm a little tired of the red and green combos. Like, do something else, please. But it's still great quality, and the theming of it's really cool. I like the lenticular motion packaging as well. GLAMLITE kills it on the packaging. Coming in next, we have the MELLOW Grove palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. The artwork on this is freaking beautiful, but so is this color story. I think it's gorgeous, but out of the cool tone palettes that I have tried this year, this one just isn't my favorite, but I do think it is beautiful, and I could see myself pulling it back out. The shade up here is like a green with a pink flip. It's really beautiful. I'm happy that I picked it up. And again, I love the looks that I created with it. It's just not my absolute favorite. This palette really surprised me. This is the GHOSTFACE palette from GLAMLITE again. I really thought this would be my least favorite out of all of the Halloween palettes they released last year. But this one freaking blew my mind. I thought I hated gray eyeshadow until I tried this palette. I love the looks that I created so much. The shimmers in here are really, really freaking beautiful too. And they very rarely do a palette that goes from really light to really dark. So when I found that in this one, I was super excited. This one I bought the same time that all of the Halloween palettes came out last year, but this was their Valentine's Day launch. It is the Crazy in Love palette. And again, with the really dark, vampy color story, I love the looks that I created with this. I don't think I have a video with this one. If I do, I'll find it and try to link it somewhere. But I really enjoy this one a lot as well. I like mixing it with other palettes too. I just love all of these like deep rich shades. I think this palette is stunning and it's a fun one to have. So this next palette, I thought I would like a lot more than I did, but it's still a really good palette. But it is the LUNAR Beauty Siren Sunset. Now, I feel like he knocked it out of the park with this color story. I mean, with this packaging, it's beautiful. The raised moon and mermaid. And then on the back, it has her like diving in the water. And while I do like this color story, I only like not even half of it. I feel like that there's too many like neutral shades, but I am a colorful lover. So somebody that loves neutrals may look at this and think there's too many colorful shades. But I had a lot of fun with this palette. It's just not my favorite LUNAR Beauty palette personally, but it is beautiful and it is one that I'm happy to have in my collection. I actually have another one in here. I really like his new Moonshine palette as well. That one's freaking beautiful. Some of these palettes are cool tones with pops of warm tones. So I'm not crazy when I say that they are cool tone palettes and you might see some warm tones in them. I really like mixing them up a whole lot. So the next one I have is from Simply Posh. This is the Aurora Lights, and this was my first time trying Simply Posh, and I had so much fun with this color story. I really, really love both formulas in here as well. I think they did a really great job. It's not my favorite shimmer formula, but it is a very, very good one. And I have picked up the Coastal palette, which would fit perfectly in this video. And I picked up Citrus Punch. I'm just waiting for them to get to me. Now, this is a LUNAR Beauty palette that I have really, really loved. And it is the Full Fantasy palette. He did this in collaboration with Laura Lee Los Angeles. But oh my God, this is freaking beautiful. I really like these swampy colors. I love the mustard shades, the golds, the greens. I just had so much fun creating looks with this one. I love the greens in combination with the shade here. It's like a brown, but it has a purple undertone. And that combo is just freaking gorgeous. If you haven't tried it yet, you totally should. This is a cool leaning palette with pops of warm tones, and it is the Ensley Rain Cosmic Dreamer. This palette is so beautiful. Every time I buy an Ensley Rain palette, I am more blown away than the previous time, but this color story is freaking sickening. I love this so much. I do have a code with Ensley Rain as well. It is AOML if you guys are interested. It's affiliated, but it will save you 10%. But I love this shimmer formula so much. It's one of my top favorites. Highly recommend this brand. I think they do such a freaking great job on their formulas and their color stories. I feel really inspired by them, and that's why I love talking about palettes. Like, I will take any time I can, any excuse to talk about eyeshadow palettes. They make me so freaking happy. I'm so sorry about my voice. It's actually almost 9 o'clock at night, and it's like the later it gets, the worse my voice gets. I probably should have filmed this in the morning, but I don't really have time because I want to do a third look with that Odin's Eye palette, but I'm super excited. While I suck, it might have been helpful if I would have told you the number that the palette placed in. But coming in at number 11, we have the Fantasy Cosmetica Cradled in Ice palette. I love this whole freaking collection. I'm so glad that I picked it up. This color story is beautiful. Like, you could easily stick to a quad, like all the way around this palette. You can stick to a section. It's just so easy to use, so beginner friendly. And this formula is another top favorite. It is so fantastic. I have like 5 brands that are in my top 3. And I know that makes no sense, but I can't pick between them. I just love them so much. And again, with the artwork, the holochromes that came in this collection are freaking insane, but so are the shimmers that are in the palette. I freaking love this. I could not recommend it more. Fantasy Cosmetica is a brand that I found recently within the last few months. And if I had $1,000, I would go blow it all on that site and be so excited about it. Them and ENSLEY and Bella Beauty Bar. I have all the Unearthly palettes, all the ones that are available, except for In the Dark, but I almost have them all. Now we are down to my top 10. Listen, these were so hard to choose between, and honestly, the placement of these could change day by day, like I said earlier, but I tried really hard to put these in a position that really made me happy. And as you can tell by this page, I rearranged stuff a whole lot. Like, I really thought through this. But coming in at number 10, and it kills me that it's at number 10 because this is a number 1 palette for real. It's the Crow palette. I love this. This is my first time trying Wicked Widow. That's another brand I would sink some money into if I had the opportunity. This shade, oh my God, it has the reflex in it are so insane. But this brand has one of the best matte formulas I think I've ever used. I could blend this black out and make it look seamless. It was insane. I had so much fun working with this palette. And you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I love a deep, dark, dramatic look. So this palette was right up my freaking alley. I mean, you could do some neutral looks in here as well. Stick to these lighter shades, but why would you do that when you have all of this? I just had so much fun. I love the video that I did with this palette as well. It's one of my favorites. Coming in at number 9 is an Unearthly palette, and that should tell you how freaking good the ones above it are, because you guys know I'm head over heels in love with Unearthly Cosmetics, but it is the Dreamer palette. I also have a code with them, and it is AOML as well. This came out in a full collection, I think in January. It was actually my first video that I did that wasn't a voiceover. I had like major dental surgery, and now I'm able to talk in my videos, at least try without a voice. But this color story is freaking insane. This palette has sold out multiple times. People love this, and I can totally see why. This shade right here, Dream State, has like these gorgeous rainbow glitter reflex in them. It's so beautiful. It's a gorgeous holochrome, but this is such a beautiful cool tone palette. You could do deep dramatic looks like I like, or you could do them quick, like get out the door kind of looks. It's really an all-in-one palette, and she knocked it out of the park. But I have exciting news. This highlight trio, which is freaking stunning, is currently sold out. You can only get it in that big box, but she's had so many requests to bring it back, and I am super excited for more people to be able to use that. I don't know how well you could see this with my lighting, but there's 3 shades here. But you see how like glossy and wet looking they are? You could barely even see them. You just see that sheen. It's so freaking stunning. And I'm so excited more people are going to be able to get it. And the artwork, I love that she hires people for her artwork. And I don't know where she finds these creative artists, but I am totally here for it. So this palette is coming in at number 8, and I love this palette so much. But my video with this one is a voiceover. So if you're not into that, you might not like that video. But it is the Unearthly Cosmetics Sorcerer's Smoke. Need I say more? This palette is freaking gorgeous. I love the looks that I've created with it. The shimmers Unearthly has such a smooth shimmer formula. They're not like too emollient or anything. They stick to the lid, but they are so smooth. It's unlike anything I've ever felt in my life, and I love this formula so much. But this palette is so freaking stunning. Like, I've had so much fun with it. Coming in at number 7, I had to give it to the Nomad New Zealand Stargazing palette. This is my new favorite Nomad palette. I love this. I could not recommend it more, truly. The 2 iridescent shades down here are so beautiful. This one's kind of gray, but it flips to like pink, green, gold. It is so beautiful. But I've had so much fun playing with this one. Like, again, you can create so many different types of looks. I see so many different combos when I look at this palette. It's truly inspiring, and it's one I'm super happy to have in my collection. My voice is going a little more with every palette. I'm trying to drink water to help, and at night I drink tea, but it doesn't care. Coming in at number 6 is the Unearthly Cosmetics Spring Magic. I love this palette so much, and honestly, I have not gotten to play with this nowhere near enough. The shimmers in here are so incredible. Like, you can kind of see some of the flips when I move it, but they are so reflective, so beautiful. I love this color story. There's so many different types of looks you could do with this palette. Like, this is a one-trick pony. There's a look for everything. You could do something blue, something green, something neutral. You could mix. I love doing the, what's it called? The two-tone looks. I love that. So for me, that gives even more variation, but I think this is a stunning freaking palette. And again, with that artwork, it's just stunning. I love it. They always think outside the box, and I love people who think outside of the box, and this brand is outside of the box. Now we're down to my top 5, and this was super hard. I changed this order 10 times, but coming in at number 5, I had to give it to the Christmas Eve palette by Odin's Eye. Like, other than the fact that they misspelled stuff and stuff like that, which is crazy, like they got Mob tree, and I think they meant lemon, but this color story is so beautiful, and I truly underestimated how much I would love this palette. The shade right here, like, it flips from blue to like a deep purple. It's so freaking stunning. I love it so much. This color story is gorgeous. I don't want to go on and on about it because this is one you actually can't get anymore, but I'm pretty sure you can get all of the other ones if you're interested. And coming in at number 4, we have a palette that is a mix of warm and cool, and it is new to my collection, but there's something about this freaking palette that just blows my mind. It is so freaking good. I am falling so in love with Gourmand Girls, but this color story, my lighting does not do it justice. I've never seen anything like this. I have close to 200 palettes in my collection, and there's nothing like this. That is so hard to do in such a saturated market, but somehow she did it, and she did it freaking so well. The looks I created with this were so fun. The last one that I did in my video, I kept thinking it wasn't going to turn out, but somehow at the end, it just came together and was one of the most creative and gorgeous looks that I think I've ever created. But this palette is beautiful. This shade right here just blows my freaking mind. It is like a deep green, but it has like lime green glitter reflex with like really beautiful peach reflex in it as well. I've never seen anything like it. I cannot rave about this palette enough. It's so freaking incredible. Now we are down to the top 3, and this was so hard. But coming in at number 3 is the ENSLEY Groovy Garden palette. This palette is the color of my soul. Like, you see my background. For one, it's mushrooms. I love mushrooms. You see my cute little mushroom lamp and all my little mushroom people. but the color story, it's so grungy. These shimmers are so freaking insane. I did not know what I was missing out on because I hadn't tried the spray until this year. And oh my God, was I missing out. This color story is insane. I don't know. This has to be my favorite palette from Ensley Rain. It's beautiful. I really want the Enchanted Garden, like really, really bad, but there's a bunch more on that site. I want it. I want it as well. Someone just commented on my Should We Buy It series episode 9 and said that they love the Twisted Tea Party. So now I need to try that one too. But this is another one of those brands I could spend a fortune on their site. This palette is gorgeous and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. Now, these next two are new to my collection, but I don't know if they're like fresh in my mind and that's why they're ranking high. But at this very moment, I could not love these palettes more. They are incredible. And number 2 has to go to the BLENDBUNNY Cosmetics Longing palette. I mean, come on. These shimmers are the best shimmers I think BLENDBUNNY has done, at least in the palettes I've tried. They're all beautiful, but these bottom 3 just freaking blow me away. Like, do you see those shifts? This shade right here, When It Rains, I've never seen anything quite like it. It shifts from like a steely blue and it has like a gold green flip to it. It's so freaking stunning. Love Letters right here is like purple, but you can see the bright blue that it looks like on camera, but to me it is purple. It's just such a stunning palette. I love the grays and these dusty purples with the muted greens. Even this neutral row, it's just so freaking beautiful. And this mint, it's everything. It goes so well with that ColourPop liner in the shade Icebreaker. I love the looks that I created with this one, and it was a great time. Coming in at number 1 is another palette I've tried recently, and let me know down below if you knew like what my number 1 palette was going to be, or even my top 3. Tell me if you guessed correctly. But at number 1, I have to give it to the Cosmic Beauty Cool Trolls palette. This palette is so freaking gorgeous. The shimmers are to die for. These palettes are so affordable in the grand scheme of things when you look at indie brand pricing. And they have one of the best formulas that I've tried. The shade up here is a beautiful multi-chrome. It shifts from like purple to green, and I can't even tell what else is in there, but it has the holochrome glitters in it as well. It is freaking breathtaking. I love the looks that I created with this. I had such a great time. Now, out of the 2 palettes that released between the Cool Trolls and the Neutrals, I love the Neutrals. That one is my absolute fave, but this one is freaking beautiful too. The Neutrals just kind of like blew me away. Like, I wasn't expecting to love that palette more, but I totally do. It's freaking fantastic. And there's a lot of cool tones in that palette as well. Actually, I could have put it in this video, but I didn't think about it. For some reason, I was thinking like orange, whatever, yellow, warm. So I didn't think about putting it in here. But that is it. Those are my top 20 cool tone palettes ranked. And like I mentioned in the intro, it wasn't an easy video to do because I really do love them all, especially like the top 15. Those are incredible. I recommend every one of these palettes. If any of them speak to you, then I say go for it if you can go for it. But if not, I just hope that maybe looking at these color stories might bring you some inspiration on bringing some colors together in your collection, maybe gave you some inspiration for some different eye looks. But let me know down below if you even like cool tone palettes. But if you do, what would your top 5 be? If not, just let us know your top 5 warm tone palettes. Either way, I appreciate you so much for being here, especially with my voice sounding like this. It annoys me too. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Like, I'm working hard pushing these words out here. I deserve a thumbs up. But thank you so much for spending your time with me. And until next time, bye. It's not coming out quite the same.